25 years ago, Waubonsie Valley's fine arts program was nowhere near the Grammy-winning caliber it is today. In 1988, Superintendent Dr. Tom Scullen saw an opportunity to create a fundraising arm of the district to grow that program. 25 years and almost $3.5 million in programs later, I sat down with those who know firsthand the impact of the Indian Prairie Educational Foundation to share their story. Innovation in the classroom is what takes education to the next level. And that's exactly what Waubonsie Valley genetics teacher Elaine Modine wanted for her students in 1993.
I went to a convention and they were doing some work with research with students for the Genome Project. Now back in '93, some people didn't even know what the Genome Project was, but I got so excited. It was with the University of Washington in Seattle. Spent all day at the workshop there, and I came out of there saying, my students someday are going to do this.
Modine tried to make do with what she had, but then realized to make her vision a reality, she would need a little help beyond her typical science department budget. And that is where the Indian Prairie Educational Foundation came in.
We were really primitive. We were doing thermal cycling with, I brought my electric fry pan from home and we had aluminum foil and we were using, it was crazy. But I had to find things like a researcher who would come in with his equipment and all. Well, I went to the foundation and they initially honored the grant so I could get some more of these chemicals I needed.
It took Modine a few years to get her participation in the Human Genome Project up and running. But once she did, the foundation funded her projects for the next 10 years, as well as a 13-foot DNA wind sculpture right behind Waubonsie. Overall, $117,600 of Modine's genetics and biology projects were funded through the foundation. Modine said knowing the foundation supported her made it easier for her to push the limits and think outside the box.
It just grew to be one of the greatest things I think we've ever done here at Waubonsie. When you think that over 10 years we had hundreds of students doing research in high school. How exciting is that? I mean, I never did high school research. The general public, how many people ever had that opportunity?
The foundation is supporting really innovative, insightful educators that are really focused on preparing our kids for the next century and beyond.
Many projects, just like Modine's, have been receiving funding from the IPEF since its inception in 1988. Originally aimed at providing funding for educational extras tax dollars couldn't provide to Waubonsie's Fine Arts Department, soon turned into an opportunity to enhance learning in other subjects district-wide.
Back in 1988, Dr. Thomas Scullen, he had a vision for where this district could go. He reached out to a group of businessmen in the community, and he came to them and he said, it'd be great if we could garner some support for different things for those educational extras.
Dr. Scullen worked to bring together a board of 9 members, and the Indian Prairie Educational Foundation was born.
Fast forward to where we're at today, 25 years later, almost $3.5 million has gone back into District 204.
Today, the foundation supports the district in many different ways. One being IPEF grants, like the one Modine received.
Those would be grants for specifically in classrooms. So it's teachers that said, hey, we'd like to do something different. We'd like to go beyond what the normal classroom, what we can typically provide. And here's our idea. We don't have the funding to do that.
The foundation really steps in and makes sure that those things are provided that are essential, that they really feel are important for our kids. And it allows teachers to apply for a grant in an area where they're going to take a chance, a little bit of risk-taking. It allows for that.
The board receives grant applications each year and then chooses where the fund should go. Board Chairman Kent Duncan says that they're constantly looking to select innovative ideas that will have the biggest impact.
The money that we spend has to impact the majority of kids that we can do. And that hasn't changed over the last 25 years. We've done, when you look at the various programs we have, like the IPF grant program, it's hard to imagine that we've done 600 of those for well over $400,000, but each one of those had a criteria to it that said, how many kids are you touching with that program?
One recent grant helped Neuqua Valley sponsor a regional VEX robotics tournament back in January. There, students from area high schools built and battled robots, helping them learn key skills through hands-on learning. The foundation provided funding for the event, as well as bought 2 new fields of play where the competitions took place.
It was somebody with a vision who looked to us and said, hey, this is something we'd love to have funding for. How can we do it? And we stepped up and said, absolutely, we like the direction of this. We like the number of kids that this can help. We like the fact that it's collaboration, it's creativity, it's communication. It's all those 21st century skills that are so important. And it's innovative, it's creative. Those are the types of things that we want to fund.
In honor of their 25th year, the foundation worked to bring together noteworthy District 204 educators like Modine and alumni, including 2006 NEQA alum and award-winning filmmaker J.J. Starr, to share how District 204 impacted them. Starr studied in the media television department at NEQA, where he found his passion for telling stories, which then led him to earning a degree in documentary filmmaking from Pepperdine University.
My media teachers here really started to say, okay, so you like the film, that's awesome. How do you cultivate stories and say, okay, I'm not just gonna take some cool images and splice it together with music. How do I tell a story in that?
After graduation, Starr traveled to Honduras to film a feature-length documentary, taking the skills and passion for storytelling he learned at NEQA with him. The Dust on Our Feet follows children who live and work in a garbage dump while earning their education.
Those 10 kids, which they started teaching at 10 years old, were graduating now, 10 years later, which is a huge accomplishment. I mean, in the 200 years at this trash dump, no one has ever gone to college. And so these kids are going to be the first ever. So that's when I kind of put plans in motion to, okay, I'm going to do this.
Starr's previous documentaries have won him Telly Awards and first prize at film festivals around the country. Success he credits back to his education at NEQA. High school students district-wide are able to gain their own festival experiences early on at the annual Fine Arts Festival. For the past 28 years, District 204 has put on the event in the spring with funding from the foundation to show the community the work being done within the schools. That day includes 80 musical performances by their Grammy Award-winning music ensembles featuring around 9,000 students.
We also have 12,000 pieces of art that are on display that day throughout our 3 high school campuses. We get somewhere between 28,000 and 30,000 people into our 3 buildings that day.
We continue to do that. Why? Because again, it touches a tremendous amount of students in our district, but also we are now starting to find out that their educational opportunities are even better when in fact they've been involved in the arts program.
One of the lesser-known functions of the IPEF, but equally as important, is that they help struggling at-risk students in a variety of ways.
Whether those are boots or coats, whether that's some financial support for the district in order to provide for many of our families that are on free and reduced lunch, that's certainly, that whole at-risk component has grown significantly.
When in fact they don't have to worry about their next meal. They don't have to worry about they got boots to go to school in. They don't worry about all that kind of stuff. They can concentrate on that.
Looking ahead, one of the organization's goals for this 25th year and beyond is community outreach and awareness. Rasmus hopes that by getting the foundation's story out there, they can increase donations and then in return be able to give out more grants and sponsor more programs. The foundation started that goal by getting District 204 staff on board.
We reached out to them and we did a program called One for the Kids. And what is that program? It's basically asking all of our staff to contribute $1 a paycheck. We were so thrilled with the response we got from them.
And with that increase in community awareness, the foundation hopes to provide their educational extras to even more classrooms and students over the next 25 years.
Teachers are overwhelmed with all the things that they have to do, and budget cuts can make teachers lose hope, that there could be new things. But the foundation gives teachers hope. But they also want the teachers to feel the freedom to find something unique.
I'm Whitney Goodbred for Naperville News Extra.